So my first visit to Disney's Animal Kingdom when the park was completely done was actually not through the main gates, but through a cast member entrance, which led me backstage and then through this wall and right into DinoLand. And so my first impression of Disney's Animal Kingdom was actually DinoLand itself, and the lush vegetation and the thematic detail and all that was involved there. But this was a time where really it was impressive. And from there I then went over the bridge and into Discovery Island and saw the remainder of Disney's Animal Kingdom. By the time I came out of Oasis, I was truly taken back by how this was a very different looking park than anything had been created. But it actually began when I first saw the Backstage area. And I mention this in part not just because this was my first entry into the finished park, but because Disney's Animal Kingdom is immensely successful because of backstage areas that you never see. Lots of folks talk about the Utilidor Tunnel, as they like to refer to it, at Magic Kingdom. The truth is, you could not create the kind of on-stage safari experience at Disney's Animal Kingdom if you didn't have the kinds of enclosures and animal care facilities that Disney has for its animals. You get a sneak peek of it when you're on the train going to Conservation Station. But let me tell you, it is a very involved, very committed, and very dedicated set of spaces for all of the animals that live in Disney's Animal Kingdom. As Jane Goodall stated, when she was once asked where she might like to live if she were an animal, her response was, at Disney's Animal Kingdom, because they take the best care of animals. They also take care of their cast members, and they do so backstage. Restaurantosaurus is one of the largest restaurants in the park for guests, but it's even bigger than you might imagine because it has a backside that serves cast members on their break backstage. It's called Restaurantosaurus. It's important that facilities like this have backstage support and support both cast members backstage and on stage in delivering the magic. By the way, that brings me to the separation of on stage and backstage again, but inside Restaurantosaurus. Usually there's a sign between the dining and a kitchen area in any given Disney restaurant. It usually says cast only. Here, there's an unusual sign that is themed to the student experience of living in these makeshift dorms. Near the entrance of the kitchen, and not well lit, is a formal stamped sign that says, quote, door to commissary supply room must remain locked at all times. Refreshments and cold drinks to be distributed by commissary staff only. In other words, if you were a student archaeologist working in the digging all day, and if you were thirsty, and surely excavating all day would do just that, you had to go through staff members in order to get something. Not convenient, especially after hours. So it may not be surprising that there are some dozen broken padlocks hanging near the sign with an equivalent number of broken latches by the door. Apparently, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. That probably explains why there's a more makeshift sign that follows down below. Quote, okay, we give up. As of next week, soft drinks and snacks will be available in a cooler outside on the porch. End of quote. So often, policies and procedures are created with the operation in mind, and not the employer. At some point, it's just not worth the hassle of policing and patrolling. Why not simply make it easier for your employees to do the job they have to do? In fact, I remember that during opening, one of the ways they made it easier for cast members to prepare was to hand out Bob's Beverage Bucks. Bob was a reference to Bob Lamb, who led operations when Disney's Animal Kingdom first opened. The coupon and the shape and look of a dollar bill declared Disney's Animal Kingdom Park that the note could be redeemed for one complimentary beverage at Pride Rock Cafe through April 12th of 1998. It must have been official, as it came from the Bank of Bob and had his likeness on the bill. It's the kind of idea when you run a business. Success comes when you make it easier for your employees to do their job. Whatever it takes, set your employees up for success.